Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Ryan Fisher is my name. Talking over the first hour about Dr. Ben Carson as a possible presidential candidate in 2016. Rob, let's jump to clip number one, the Chris Matthews clip. And you know, my concern for Dr. Carson, I just love that guy. I have tremendous admiration. I have tremendous respect for him. A lifetime of service. The way he didn't look for excuses, didn't make excuses, got an education, took advantage of every opportunity that came his way, and became the chief pediatric neurosurgeon in the entire world. I mean, it's an amazing, amazing, amazing story. So I don't want to be misunderstood in anything that I'm saying. I have nothing but the highest possible regard for Dr. Ben Carson, for his character, for his integrity, for his values, and all that kind of thing. I just wonder, man, I just kind of fear for him, frankly, if he gets involved in the vicious world of politics. Now, you know, because Ben Carson, he's all about conversation. He's all about dialogue. He's all about reasoning together. He's all about understanding each other. He's all about listening to each other, understanding each other's point of view, having empathy for each other, and then trying to find some common ground. Now, this is Chris Matthews, and they are talking here about the issue of global warming. The issue is not particularly important. It's what Chris Matthews, who represents the kind of people that Dr. Ben Carson says we need to sit down and we need to have a dialogue. We need to have a conversation with each other. We need to understand each other. We need to develop empathy for each other. Well, listen to Chris Matthews and ask yourself the question, how in the world do you wind up having any kind of meaningful dialogue with somebody who thinks this about you and everything you represent? Let's listen.
A religious question. This is for secular religious. If we're mankind as stewards of the earth and responsible for the earth, and it's, you know, leave it no worse than you found it kind of thing, how can these religious people on the far right not care about the condition of this planet?
I think actually more and more evangelicals care about this issue. I actually, you know, you saw the Pope last week talk about climate change and the moral imperative of addressing climate change. I actually think this is a business interest. There's special
Don't
interest.
put the Pope in the same category as the Yahoos, please. Not while you're here. But go ahead.
So that's Chris Matthews. Don't put the Pope in the same category as the Yahoos, please, while you're here. So that's what Chris Matthews, and that's what the left thinks of you, and that's what they think of me. To them, we are Yahoos. We are Neanderthals. We are Cro-Magnons. We ought to go back to the darkened cave from which we came. They look at us as unenlightened, uneducated, dumb, as people that really deserve no respect from them, no courtesy. And how do you have dialogue with you don't. There's no possible way that you could sit down with Chris Matthews until the end of time, and he's always going to think of you and me as Yahoos. There's not a chance in the world that you're going to get through to him. So at some point, I think you just have to accept the reality, accept the inevitable, and then just move forward with as many people as you can persuade to follow you into battle as you can. 888-589-8840, number to call. You know, we were talking about Jay Carney and his promise back in 2013. Now, apparently somebody from Obama's administration has called Dianne Feinstein. They didn't call any Republicans. They called Dianne Feinstein, who's the head of the appropriate Senate committee. She's a Democrat, and they apologized. They said, look, we didn't give you 30 days notice. It was an oversight. I mean, I don't believe that for 1 minute, but at least they realized they got caught. They've been exposed. They broke the law. Everybody recognizes it. And so at least they're making some kind of effort to look like they're sorry for what they did. You know the old saying, it's always easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. They knew that if they went to Congress and said, look, we're going to exchange 5 of the worst mass murders in the history of civilization for a guy that deserted his platoon or brigade or group, and 14 American soldiers. The number is now up to 14, according to Colonel Hunt. The best number I've seen so far, I'll go with 6. I think we have verified that 6 died, looking for Sergeant Bergdahl, who, by the way, do you know that he got – this is unbelievable to me, because he was never been classified as a deserter, even though the Pentagon in 2010, they came to the conclusion, the rock-solid, rock-ribbed, substantiated conclusion that he was a deserter, that he had voluntarily left his post. He left his station. They concluded that in 2010, but he never was listed as a deserter, which means he has continued to get promoted. He has been getting promotions, ladies and gentlemen, 2 of them, and he's in line for another. And unless he is classified as a deserter, he's going to get another promotion. He's due for another promotion any time now. He could wind up getting, this is a guy that was getting promotions, getting raises in pay while he was helping the Taliban, to use Jay Carney's, helping the Taliban turn cell phones into remote detonators for bombs. He was helping the Taliban learn how to set ambushes for his former colleagues in the United States Army, and he was getting promotions at the same time. Because the Pentagon, even though in 2010 they said, look, we know this guy is a deserter, there's no question about it, they wouldn't list him as a deserter, so he continued to get promotions. I mean, it just is staggering to me, this level of, I don't know what even you would call that. It had to be deliberate. So I don't know what term you would use to describe that sort of malfeasance in the command structure of the military. But anyway, they know that they broke the law. Jay Carney, 2013, we will not make any decisions about transfer of any detainees without consulting with Congress and without doing so in accordance with the law. So that was less than a year ago. We're going to obey the law. Law says 30 days. We'll give you 30 days. It says consult with Congress. We're going to consult with Congress. Didn't do any of that with this transfer. And Jeffrey Toobin, who is a hardcore leftist, legal expert, always on these cable news shows being the legal expert, and he said this yesterday, I think it was on CNN, I think he clearly broke the law. The law says 30 days notice. He didn't give 30 days notice. And he said Obama can have this signing statement that it's not the law, but that doesn't mean it's not the law. A signing statement is not the law. The law is the law. And Toobin says, look, the law is on the books, and he didn't follow it. So Wolf Blitzer says, look, you're accusing the president of breaking the law. And Toobin says, I do think his critics have a very good point here. So Toobin says, yeah, he did, in fact, break the law. My column today is up at rightlyconcerned.com, and it's all about, and part of the essence of it, you get down to the end of it, is the fact that President Obama is a serial lawbreaker. He is a serial lawbreaker, and even left-wingers are admitting it. You know, we played that soundbite yesterday from Jonathan Turley, George Washington University, is another one of these guys that's always on these talking head programs as the constitutional and legal expert. And he says, look, President Obama broke the law here. Jeffrey Toobin, he broke the law. I don't think there's any question about it. You know, Turley said yesterday, there's no question. Nobody disputes the fact that he broke the law. Nobody questions that. And you can add this, he says, to a pile. If you add up all of the times that President Obama has violated the law, has defied the law, has broken the law, he says you would have a pile. You'd have a stack of these offenses. You know, and Andy McCarthy said yesterday, he was a prosecutor in the World Trade Center bombing 1993, federal prosecutor. He knows what it means to put a Muslim terrorist behind bars. He said, look, what President Obama did yesterday in releasing these Guantanamo Bay terrorists was an impeachable offense. That alone, let alone this pile, this stack of law-breaking episodes, that one episode alone where he released 5 detainees that the Pentagon had determined were a threat to our national security if they were released, that all by itself is an impeachable offense. And McCarthy's got a book, I think is being released today, that makes the case for the impeachment of President Obama. He builds a legal case for the impeachment of President Obama. But what McCarthy says, and he's right about this, until you get the political will behind it, you know, impeachment is just an idea. It's a concept. It might even be a good one, might even be the right one, might even be the best one. But you're going to have the American people getting on board with this before it is going to go anywhere. But, you know, the point I made in my column is, what do you call somebody that is a serial lawbreaker? What do you call somebody that has a pile, that has a stack of offenses against the law on his rap sheet? You call that person a criminal. So that's what Jonathan Turley is saying about President Obama. That's not me speaking. That's Jonathan Turley saying here is a guy that has a stockpile, has a stack of crimes on his rap sheet. That makes him, in anybody's book, a criminal, and the solution to that is impeachment. And, of course, that has to be up to Congress and the Senate, and the American people are going to have to get behind that and realize, look, that's the remedy that has to be pushed to save what is left of this country. Well, let's grab some phone calls before the end of this segment. Let's go to Don, Northwest Arkansas. Don, welcome. What's on your mind?
Yeah, well, thank you for taking my call. I remember, I'll make 3 comments, then I'll get off the phone. First one is I heard Herman Cain in person in Little Rock, and he said as far as the left wing, they sin, S-I-N. They shift the subject, ignore the facts, and resort to name-calling.
That's exactly right. He's nailed it, hasn't he?
I think so. Yeah, he did it. And I would say as far as our president and Sergeant Bergdahl, let me modify a statement from Forrest Gump. Traitor is as traitor does.
Well, that's a good way to put it. And the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Martin Dempsey, there has been so much outrage now. I've got a number of articles on the stack of just the outrage from people that have served with Bergdahl, served at the time, served in Afghanistan, served. They're just outraged at what is going on here. And they got, even General Martin Dempsey said, look, we're going to investigate the allegations of desertion. We're going to look into those. He's not going to skate on those.
No.
It's getting to the point now where everybody realizes, everybody's admitting, look, this guy is not a hero, should not receive a hero's welcome. Anyway, one more comment, Don.
Yeah, I would say as far as Dr. Carson, I'd say one fatal flaw in his Esther analogy is that no one knew Esther was a Jew until she told them. They didn't even ask about it. But as far as same-sex marriage, they're going to ask him. And I think that he may want to consider the Surgeon General role.
And that strikes me, Don. I appreciate the call, and thank you for that. And that strikes me, Surgeon General would be absolutely the perfect spot for Dr. Ben Carson. I agree with Don. I think that is the prime spot for him. He's obviously eminently qualified from a medical standpoint, but also he is qualified from a moral standpoint, because the Surgeon General is going to be dealing with issues like abortion, going to be dealing with issues like sex reassignment surgery. Johns Hopkins got out of that completely. They've stopped doing it altogether. He'd be the perfect guy for the Surgeon General. Focal Point AFR Talk.